All right, so you want to be a realtor, right? What does it take to be a realtor? And not only that, but sell in 2023 and beyond. We're going to get down to brass tacks. All right, first of all, we are seeing a pattern, are we not? Like the people that started in 2020 and have sold for a couple of years, they are getting a dose of reality, are they not?
Absolutely. And I think that, look, there's always the statistic everybody always hears is 85% of new realtors never make it through their first year, never sell a single property and are gone out of the business in the first year. Of the 15%, a large portion of those don't make it through their second year. I think that you're going to see a lot more people sort of wash out, if you will, because you go back 2 years ago and the market was just so hot. All you needed was to pick up a listing and it was going to sell within 2 or 3 days. And all of a sudden you're cashing all these checks thinking, wow, this is great. It's much more hard. It's much more difficult right now, especially in a slower market. Anybody who's financing is pretty much out of the market right now. So now you're looking for only cash buyers in a very condensed market with not a lot of inventory. So I think that, you're going to have to work a lot harder to put the deals together. You're going to have to put a lot more work into ensuring that the deal isn't just signed at contract, but gets to closing. And it's much more difficult. It's just, it's taking a lot more work to transact properties now. So
to that point, like in the boom, let's just call it the boom or pandemic market, properties were selling in a day, multiple offers. We're definitely not seeing that. So in a market that properties are selling in more of a normal days on market kind of a situation in real estate, let's 30 to 90 days, even 90 days is generally a normal market, right? So the issue with a new realtor is this takes a different skill set.
And it takes, at the end of the day, you're not getting paid until the deal closes. So if you get
breaking news,
even if you get a huge listing,
doesn't matter.
It could take you 90 days or more to sell it. Then there's usually a 30 days until it closes. Once it closes, you don't get 3%. There's this misconception. Well, you just sold a $3 million property. You just made $90,000.
People are quick to calculate the $90,000 on a $3 million, right? So
you're not walking away with $90,000.
Behind the scenes, we have further breakdowns. First of all, we have to pay out of our own pocket. Our company doesn't pay for advertising. We have our MLS dues. We have other board dues. We have to pay attorneys for errors and omissions. We have splits, meaning based on your volume. So if you're a new agent, you don't take, usually sometimes it's 50-50, right? Depending on if you're a brand new agent, it's 50-50, maybe 70-30, right? So you don't, people.
And if you're with a large brokerage like Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Michael Saunders, Sotheby's,
it's even more.
The company itself generally takes 6% of your commission.
It's for the branding though, the international branding and the name.
But if you're a brand new agent on a 70-30 split, you've already given up 30%. Then Coldwell Banker or your broker is going to take another 6%. So that's 36% that you've given up.
And if that lead was a referral, so we thrive and we love and appreciate our agent referrals. So don't take this the wrong way. But if there is a referral that does cut into it, generally 25%. So when you dwindle it down, it really does cut into your take home. And not to mention taxes.
Everybody forgets about the taxes. And they're like, well, wait a second, I start out at $90,000. Very quickly, it gets whittled down to 45. And then people are like, well, so you walked away with 45 grand. And you're like, no. I had to pay $18,000 to $20,000 in taxes. I walked away with about $25,000 to $30,000 when it was all said and done on a large transaction. Admittedly, larger transactions are a bit easier than
they definitely are.
A $400,000 or $500,000 transaction. I mean, they generally stay together. They're not going to fall apart over a $200 or $300
for that,
fix. But I think that there's a lot of misconceptions around, oh my gosh, look at these realtors, they're all making so much money. Number one, they don't make anywhere near as much as you think. And number two, you're not looking at the fees. Right when you get started, right off the bat. MLS, which I don't remember. I vaguely remember, I think right off the bat, I think I had to pay $900 or $1,400 for my MLS access. Supra, which is the
way we get in to see property.
It's the app that goes on your phone that allows you to open up the boxes to get in. Yes, it's only $15 a month. But we also have a desk fee, which is $55 a month. And you also, like, right off the bat, the best way to generate business, in my opinion, is open houses. Well, you can't do an open house if you don't have signs. So right away, you've got to go spend $200 or $300 in signs.
And you can't do it unless you have listing. You can, but generally the best thing to do is have your own listings, right? So let's get back to, so basically, there's all these fees, right?
But if you start out,
and if you're not selling, and if you're new,
right,
you still have fees. You still have to pay out.
Well, and right off the bat, my rough estimation is, from the point you decide you want to become a realtor, you got a couple $100 for the class, you've got all these other fees. My guess is you're probably $3,500 to $4,000 starting out right off the bat before you've even walked in the door to try to sell your first property,
but
and you have no income.
But you're starting a business, and right. I don't think that, there's people that get their license that, of course, just do it for fun and on the side, and there's that group of people. But the people that we're really talking to, the people that are trying to do this full time. So you're going in, and it's like, this is a business, and it should be treated as such. If you want to last in real estate, not just be in it when it's easy, because anybody, literally, if you had a pulse, you could sell in the last 2 years, right?
Sure.
And so what we're seeing, the pattern that we're seeing, is the people that were successful, they stopped doing all the things that were necessary. They got lazy. They're doing the low-lying fruit.
Right.
It's like he and I just are out hustling, and I've worked harder in the last 9 months than I have in probably the last 2-3 years at least. But I'm no stranger to working hard. I grew up, my family taught me to work hard, and we have a strong work ethic, and same with you. You work harder than me, I think, sometimes, like push me. But, I think that's what's been lost on people, the brand new people that knew no differently, and now are exiting the business and getting second jobs. And we all know that if you can't do this full time,
you can't do it part time.
Can't do it part time.
I sort of say to everybody, like, if you're going to be a realtor and your plan is to do this long term, full time and long term, if you're thinking this is a 40-hour-a-week job, there's no way you're going to make it. It's got. I mean, we're early in the morning, late at night. Generally, most weekends you're working,
or at least answering phone calls and emails
at a minimum. But generally, most of our business is generated Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
I mean, that's when you're getting your leads. That's when you're doing open houses. I mean, so I think that, like, people see the numbers, but they don't factor in everything, all the fees, your broker's taking a split, taxes. All of those things whittled even these large deals down to a small amount of money. So at the end of the day, you have to do multiple transactions and be involved in multiple deals.
Yeah, and have a lot of lead sources.
Sure.
Life is not Instagram. I don't know if you all know that.
Yeah.
But we see, like, the new listing and the shiny new penny and the great closing. We've got a couple closings coming up, but we worked really hard for those, and we're doing the things that others won't.
Right.
But we'll get the results that maybe they won't as well. And, I'm no stranger to pivoting.
No.
I've been pivoting since 2001 and the Great Recession, and you've been in various businesses, and you have the acumen to know how to maneuver before, like, we're seeing it before the things shifted, start to shift. So as you start to feel that, you start to double up and think smart as to what needs to be done. And sitting at home, I know you have a strong feeling about this, sitting at home and cold calling.
It's useless.
When all the other agents are doing it, you have to do something different to get the results that they won't. And we are very direct in our approach, and we'll be the first to tell you, like, this isn't going to work, or this is what we recommend. And if you want to call and ask for advice, like, we'll be very, we'll give it to you straight, that's for sure. My
best business is done face to face.
Yeah.
Whether that's in open houses, it's taking time at the desk where you're meeting clients out in front. My best business is done face to face, and
meeting with clients, going to dinner, going to lunch, having a drink,
networking with the people that we know, and yeah. So I think that. Something else for me is that I'm really trying to look at, like, where's the market going and how do I get out in front of
constantly.
It. So my guess is, they're saying they're going to raise rates again, possibly a second time this year. But my thinking is, if I can get a lot of listings at the point when they do lower rates, I believe that the market is going to come racing back. Well, the way to get ahead of that is position myself with a bunch of listings, because if it does come roaring back, the people sitting with listings are the ones that are going to be positioned really well.
Control the listings, control the market.
Control the listings, control the market. And so I right now my whole focus, and not that I won't take buyers at any price point, obviously, but if someone just said you can choose to get 2 new buyers right now or 2 new listings right now, I would say I'll take the 2 new listings, preferably. So we're, it's just not easy. It's not an easy business. And if you're thinking that, mistakes that I see a lot of agents make as well is that they'll get a couple of large deals done. And then the next thing you know, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation for a while, which obviously I am notorious for.
But you can, and you have it under control, and you space it out enough to where you can manage it.
If you take your foot off the gas in this business, you're going to find that all of a sudden you've gone from, oh my gosh, I'm doing really well, to, oh my gosh, I have nothing going. And not only that, now I have to go back and reread the market and figure out like how do I position myself well now? 2 years ago during the pandemic, all you needed to do was get listings. There was buyers on every corner. Yeah. Everybody was a buyer.
Everybody's lining up.
Everybody's lining up to buy.
It's not like that, so you have to know. I mean, I've had agents ask, "What is a broker's open?" or "What is a price improvement?"
Right.
Like, because
they weren't used to that.
It's just mind blowing to me, because we're sitting here like, what? We've already been through that cycle and those cycles of, and the other thing too, we're very hands-on with our clients. So we not only just want to help our clients sell the properties, we want to help them prepare them to sell.
Sure.
So we're doing things now that were not happening in 2020 to 2022, like helping a seller prepare
the house
to make sure it's presentable and get the very most bang for your buck. So we're walking people through that in advance of listing, which takes extra time, this is just the stuff that we do behind the scenes that we don't talk about on social media necessarily. You don't see all that.
It's not glamorous.
It's not glamorous. It's gritty. It's gritty. It's a lot of follow through. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of networking. It's a lot of hand holding. Some sellers are really emotional and it's difficult for them. We've been through a couple of challenging transactions. Like, that's not the stuff that you see on social media, on Instagram. Okay. It's not the shiny
$1 million listing. They never show you the difficult transactions. It's always
the wife calling and crying, or the husband and wife not being on board, the agreement. It's just all kinds of things that we have to become counselors to a degree.
Well, and concierge on the front end of a listing, especially as you're trying to prepare it for sale. A lot of times we end up being kind of a concierge service that's setting up vendors and setting up people to fix different issues of the property. Because at the end of the day, especially right now, our market, we still are seeing a premium being paid for properties that are completely renovated, move-in ready, and with views, especially if they're like furnished.
Yeah.
Move-in ready. I don't have to. I literally just get the keys at closing, and now I can go use this place. Versus, if there are issues, if it needs updates, or
buyers are going to pick that apart.
They're going to pick it apart and just pass and wait. Something else that we admittedly deal with here in Sarasota, a lot of sellers and buyers wait until season. So a lot of sellers say, well, I'm just going to wait until season when there's more people here.
But there's also more competition.
There's also a lot more. There's a lot more competition, and you're going to see a lot more sellers putting their property on the market. So you're competing with a lot more property. So of course, I'm a realtor, so you're always going to hear from me, now is the best time to sell. But truly, waiting until September when we're going back into season, you're going to have, there's more buyers, but there's also going to be a lot more properties hitting the market. So it doesn't mean that you're going to get more money. You're just sort of delaying the time. We're transacting properties. We have a closing this week. We've had multiple closings this month. And we're not having a problem selling properties. We are having a problem selling properties if they need to be renovated, or if they're sitting on a major road where there's noise traffic. People are like, I'll wait until season when there's more inventory and I can find the property that's not sitting on a major road.
Right.
So there's that as well.
But that being said, like we spoke to an owner earlier today, and she's like, I'm staying put and everything, and she's like, it's so quiet, and I was like, Well, yes, but it's a little deceiving because yes, while it's traffic is slower, which we find as full-time people, we find
It's a relief.
a reprieve for us because it's a relief being on the island,
Sure.
coming out. It takes forever. But don't mistake that for not having transactions
Right.
being done. As a matter of fact, some of our highest sales are in the summertime.
Right.
And so we don't listen to everybody's, word about that. I haven't for years, and we usually kill it in the summertime for
Right.
our clients. And I really just feel like it's an opportunity for sellers that are not competing against some of their neighbors that
Right.
are waiting.
Agreed.
And I will say too, if you want to get a property, like if you want to get it set up for rental to be ready for season, it's also a great time to buy because
Right.
then you can take your time with vendors and get it ready and then let it hit the rental pool.
Right.
Or if you want to use it for yourselves, have that renovation done. And again, we have contacts for that. I know we're kind of going off on a tangent, but the realtors right now,
you have to be more than just a transactional realtor.
Yeah.
You have to be more than I have a buyer, we're going to buy a property and that's the end of it.
Done.
Or I'm a listing agent, I'm just going to list properties and move on. You have to be more than that.
So what should a new agent be doing? Because there's so many things. So there's a lot of things that you can do that don't cost you money, like buying leads. Trust me, I am the queen of buying leads, so I know I've done all of that.
I don't believe in it.
There's so many things that are free.
I feel like we have generated so much business, door knocking, taking our desk time and just meeting people that are coming into the office. YouTube, just taking our previous clients out for dinner and drinks and networking with our friends and family and our network of people that have already bought with us
face to face.
I don't believe in paying for leads.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I know that Tom Ferry is going to tell me I'm wrong. I understand that, but the reality is
if that works for you. But
my experience has been when you're cold calling, you're one of thousands of agents that are in Sarasota that are cold calling, and they're all calling from the same Vulcan software or the same list of people. So by the time you're calling them, they've had 200 phone calls before you. They're generally angry and tired and don't want to hear it.
I think there is a niche for that, and there's a skill set for that.
There is.
I think there are agents that really have that skill honed in, and they succeed really well at that. Mm-hmm. That's not our forte.
That's not my forte.
I've tried that route. Listen, I've been around. I'm an old broad. I'm an old veteran here. Yeah. So I've tried multiple things. I paid for this. I paid for that. I mean, there's so much you can do online, like social media. I had a list here. Oh, you can be on podcasts. I seek out to be on podcasts, and some seek me out. Mm-hmm. There's, again, I mentioned already, but the YouTube that we're growing is a really phenomenal outlet that we've actually moved away from TV and instead of for our listing concierge, we were doing on TV ads, and they moved from TV to YouTube ads.
We say they, Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker has moved from doing a TV show to doing YouTube shows where the listings are on there.
Correct.
Now. And so because it's
more
platform. Effective. It's more effective.
People are watching YouTube because they can pick and choose who's watching TV. Who's watching TV though?
Most people aren't anymore. And we've been having this conversation at my house lately. Like, do we really want to continue paying for cable? We never watch it.
Right.
Do we really? I mean, when Netflix has changed, do we really? I mean, we don't really watch much on Netflix anymore. Like, do we want to continue doing that? So most of what we watch is on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
I would say I'm talking to you new realtors, and by new I mean what in the last 5 years but especially the last couple years. I would say the best investment is, what do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know.
It's not in real estate, it's in yourself. And if you invest in yourself, you never stop learning. That is really important because you can never know everything. Every day I learn something, whether it's from you or the office or someone or a client. Doesn't matter. Someone on the street. Doesn't matter. Always invest in yourself. I think that's the best place to spend time and money. I
would say if you're a brand new agent and you're just getting into this, I would say the best advice I can give you is, one, you need to have 6 to 8 months of money in the bank. Period.
That's probably, we should have started here.
6 to 8 months of money in the bank, because
probably 12.
Most of the people that I see washing out, they have 2 or 3 months in the bank. It's very difficult for what you're saying as an agent as a brand new agent is I'm going to get a deal the first 2 or 3 weeks I'm in real estate. It's not going to happen.
It might, but it's 1%.
It's very unlikely. And the reality is that you need to have at least 6 to 8 months so that you have time to find your first couple of clients, get your first couple of deals done. And then once you're getting deals done, you can start kind of transitioning away from having this big bankroll. But more often than not, the reason why 85% of agents wash out is they come in and they have 3 or 4 months in the bank, and it takes a lot longer than that. And I'm not saying even if you get a deal in the first couple of weeks, it might not close for 4 months.
Or you might get 50% of 300,000. I mean, it's not enough to sustain
you. And so I just think that like you have to have enough money, and you have to be willing to do extra work.
The work.
You have to put hours in, and you have to be willing to do the things that you look around, and the agents don't want to go door knocking. They don't want to go, they don't want to take a lot of desk shifts, because there's desk shifts you're going to go down there and not get a single lead. But if you're willing to do those things that they don't want to do, eventually they will pay off.
But you get better at stop. But you can't stop just because you're not getting business. It's the people that, I like the visual where the guy's like digging a hole to the gold, and the guy below stops, but the guy above keeps going and he gets to the gold. It's just like that visual is, I think, so simple but so powerful. And it takes grit, it takes determination. You have to really, really want it and have to really, really love this and want to be in it. Otherwise, it's not for most people. It's not for most people.
And I think that, real estate has a way of humbling agents in a way that if you're not willing to do those extra things, you're not going to get extra results.
Absolutely.
And so, I love it when somebody says, "Oh gosh, you got so lucky on that deal. I mean, you picked it up off of desk." And I'm like,
lucky.
And listen, if you want to call me lucky, I guess so. But at the end of the day, it's funny how lucky you get when you're doing the extra things and working as hard as you are.
You create your luck.
And I don't, I also think that, a lot of my business, or a large portion of my business, the first couple of years that I've been in, has been from desk. But desk was a skill that I developed, right?
You really have it down.
So you really have to, but like it was going in and doing it a lot, repetition over time. You're going to get better at what you're doing, but it takes an investment in time to build that skill. So I just think that I think it'll be interesting to see over the next few months. Something that is interesting to me, we always sort of expect that brand new agents, most of them are going to wash out. What I'm starting to see now, though, that is very different in the last couple of years is that I'm starting to see seasoned agents who have lots of sales and some of them have done $15-20 million in sales in a year, are washing out because they don't want to do
the new things.
They don't want to do the uncomfortable things. They don't want to do the new things. And look, I'm not that I'm like killing it and doing 100 million in sales or anything, but I am willing to do the things that are uncomfortable. And if that's what I have to do to put deals together, that's what I'm going to do. So I think that like a change in mentality has to be, what is it going to take?
You got to want it. You have to have it in your head that there's no plan B.
There's no plan B. I always say that too. If you're coming into this and you're like, well, I used to whatever it is that you used to do. Well, I can always go back to that. If you're coming into real estate with that mentality, you already have one foot out the door. The people that I've seen succeed or that are doing really well come into it, and there is no plan B. Like
you had no plan B. You just set your mind to.
I was in healthcare. When I left healthcare, I said to myself, "I'm never going back. Like this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to work as hard as I can and put in as many hours as I can until I find a way to succeed." And I didn't know what that way was. I tried cold calling. I tried calling for sale by owners and FSBOs.
It's hard. It's tough.
I tried things that are never going to work ever. I mean,
they work for some, but it's not.
No, I mean, I had some. I thought I was going to be really, forward thinking, and I would pull up for sale by owners and literally just put together a presentation, drive over to the house and knock on the door with my presentation. And people don't really respond well to that or appreciate it. I think that what's interesting to me is that seasoned agents are washing out now. seasoned agents that have been in the business for years and years and years are, we're meeting them sometimes because they're talking to us about potentially joining our team. But, in the past they had 10, 12, $15 million in sales, and we're 6 months into this year and they've got, one sale for $700,000-$800,000. And you're like, wait a second.
It's hard to live on. I mean,
yeah, $24,000 minus everything we just talked about leaves you at about 10 grand. So you're 6 months into the year and you've made $10,000.
The people that, this is why I said it's consistently coming up, that they've said that they've stopped doing the things that got them to that, and in 2020 to 2022 they were lazy. I mean, and the business was easy, but then they let the rest of it go, which it's everything in real estate is systems. And as long as you have systems in place, like these are the systems we don't deviate from.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we need to pivot a little bit slightly within those systems or add to or subtract kind of as you go, you kind of move along, but you still are maintaining the things that have worked.
Right.
And I think that is the biggest thing, even for a seasoned agent, that, they're saying that they...
Well, some of my pivots didn't work. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was doing really well my first year and a half, taking desk, converting those desk leads into sales. And I added a CRM system, right, and pivoted to spending hours and hours every day calling the CRM. And at the end of the year, I stepped back and was like, wait a second, I paid $24,000 this year, right, for this CRM. I only had one sale from it, whereas when I was doing all of my desk shifts, I had 8 to 10 sales, and it was for, several of them were really large sales. Like, why am I... So I repivoted back and said, I'm done.
Change the insanity, right? Yep. Repeating and expecting different results. By the way, for anyone that doesn't know what desk is, we are on St. Armand's Circle, which is a really high walking traffic area, and people come by. We have a window of properties downstairs, and they stop and they want to talk, and that's what desk is, right, or it's also called floor time. So I think to kind of summarize this, I know myself and my team, and we're the team, we've been leaning out in terms of taking expenses out that really just haven't worked. Like I've been paying for a website that just hasn't really done much, and then Google ads. We just kind of moved everything over to YouTube for the most part. I keep a website and just kind of trimming the fat, yep, like being smart and trying to keep more of our hard-earned commissions. And generally speaking, as a realtor, like they say, if you're spending 25% or less on marketing, you're doing well. I just recalculated this morning, I'm at under 9%, which is very, very lean for 9% of the gross commission. So I work very, very lean, but it's taken me a long time to kind of figure that out and kind of get to that point.
And I just rebase it.
A new agent could get around that, I feel, to an extent. My
feeling is, if you're a new agent, until you're established and you have lots of leads coming in, you shouldn't spend anything.
Yeah.
And as of right now, I've cut my budget literally down to $0. I'm literally down to, I'm not doing mailers. I'm not paying for software. I'm not paying for leads. I'm literally door knocking, doing my floor time, reaching out to previous clients, reaching out to family and friends, and that's it.
Yeah.
And my hope is that at some point I'll, at one point transition or choose another way. I mean, listen, there's a bunch of agents extremely well established. I know that you do this, that do mailers.
Yeah.
And
I do mailers.
So some of the agents in our office are extremely successful with that. I think that, I'm more apt to looking at something like that where I see people doing really well with it. I will probably never pay for Zillow, Realtor.com. I'll never do another CRM where I'm paying a couple thousand. I'm paying $700-800 a month for the software and $1,200 a month in advertising. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, the leads.
If you're paying for leads
have gotten very, very expensive, and even if it's on a referral basis, the referral fees have gone up, and so there's just this diminishing rate of return.
Right.
Far less ROI on those, because I would know. I've done all of it, and I did make a great amount of money, and I did, get a chance to meet a lot of great clients that way as well. But I guess to summarize this, I would say pick your heart. I did like a live broadcast on my social media a while back with the title "Pick Your Heart," and that was I think that was a Tom Ferry thing he said, and it was a great one-liner because it's like, pick your heart. Would you rather be broke or would you rather be out hustling and worried about getting to your next appointment, or would you rather be worried about how little you have in your bank account?
Right.
I would rather be worried about getting to my next appointment
Right.
and filling the calendar and
with
being
activities
and being
right.
busy. Being overweight is hard. Going to the gym is hard. Which one do you want to be, and pick that
right.
direction and stick with it.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing, is sticking to it and consistency.
Agreed. It almost like truly, I say for me, I don't like the cold calling thing.
Yeah.
But we have agents in our office that are extremely successful doing it. And I just think that it almost doesn't matter what you choose. Just whatever you choose, do it
and do well at it.
And become an expert at it and do extremely well with it. And if you become the best at anything over time, it's going to bring you results. And I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett, I saw a thing that he did today where he said, it doesn't really matter what you do. Just become the expert at that and become the best person in your town at that thing.
Right.
And if you do that, you'll find that success sort of follows you.
But you can't be lazy. Like, there's so
you
much.
Have to work.
I feel like in this day and age, people are so apt to just pick the low line for, like, they want to work from home. They want to sit at home. I think that because of the pandemic and all that's happened around that they want to work from home. And it's like, I get that.
In real estate,
I work from home and I'm based out of my home, but we're out in between appointments working from home.
I also think there's a lot of really bad advice. And what I mean by that is I know that I was told when I first started in real estate, start with your sphere of influence. The people, your family and friends. Well, your family and friends are not. Your family and friends are not going to give you their largest asset that they own to sell until they've seen that you've gone out and done the work and that you're committed to being there for a long period of time.
Yeah, it's tricky because you're like, we know you're brand new.
What do you
know?
Right. What do you know? Nothing. I mean, how many properties have you sold? None. Okay, so why you want me? Okay, to give you my largest asset that I own.
So there's other things that you could do.
I think that you have to come into it with, I'm going to try everything until I figure out what I like and I enjoy and I'm going to be successful at and I'm going to commit myself to.
Right.
And that's where you'll find your success. So,
by the way, if you're thinking about selling and you have a property in Charlotte, Sarasota, Manatee counties, we have a long list of buyers that we've met through open houses and things of that nature that missed out on a property. And I've got a large list of my clients, past clients that are looking to transition, either upgrade or downsize.
I have a large list of investors that are interested right now in finding properties. So we're always looking to pick up listings, and obviously our goal is to get you the top dollar. We have lots of resources that can help you do that. But if you'd like to contact us, you can call me anytime, 24 hours a day on my cell. My cell phone is 941-586-2460.
And mine is 941-544-7690. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing with anyone that you think would find this helpful. And click that link below, shaylatwit.com.